You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. The Biden-Harris administration, they made several considerable changes to the latest round of Paycheck Protection Program funding. They're pledged to assist the smallest businesses this time around, and those that were left behind in previous relief efforts. Included in the updates are significant increases in money allocated to small businesses with fewer than 10 employees and additional support for sole proprietors, independent contractors, and self-employed individuals. They've also eliminated an exclusionary restriction that prevents small business owners with prior non-fraud felony convictions from obtaining relief through the Paycheck Protection Program. Joining me now to talk about this is Robert James, Chairman of the National Bankers Association, and Ron Busby, President and CEO of the U.S. Black Chambers, Inc. Ron, I'm going to go to you first, and that is we talk about PPP here. We talk about these loans. This is important over the next 2 weeks. To give the money that's going to companies 20 employees or less. What people have to understand is that when you talk about small business in America, Ron, 500 or less. A small business is considered 500 employees or less. Well, guess what? That's a lot of large companies, frankly, for true small businesses. So this distinction, 20 or less, is really important.
Yeah, it was for us. As we know, 95% of Black-owned businesses are considered small businesses, and 95% of them were not able to participate in the largest stimulus package this country has seen. And so it was very important for us to advocate on behalf of the members that we represent. So the 10 employees, 20 employees is extremely important. The next 2 weeks is extremely important for everyone to make sure that they can go establish those relationships with the community lenders, fill out your application, and to get it back. The other two things that Roland said were extremely important. If you currently are delinquent on your student loan, that's not a deterrent. And if you're a felon without a fraud conviction, that's not a deterrent. This is important for us. We advocated for this because we felt it was important for Black-owned businesses to be able to get their share. This administration has heard. These are things that could have been done during the first wave, but we're so happy that we were seeing the improvements in this portion of the package.
This is critically important, Robert, because when we talk about, again, help for those most in need, the people who are true small businesses really got lost in the PPP program. How is the National Bankers Association, the group representing black banks and minority banks, prepared to help folks over the next 2 weeks? Because this is specifically right now, this period beginning on Wednesday will be for the next 2 weeks for businesses 20 employers or fewer.
Roland, thanks for having me this evening, and thanks for covering this really important issue. We've been at the National Bankers Association, our member banks across the country have really been rolling up their sleeves throughout the PPP process and working with these truly small businesses in the Black community. Our bank, Carver State Bank, I'm a banker in addition to my role as chairman of the MBA. And at our bank, the median borrowing has been under $25,000. Most of the businesses are far less than the 500 employees. Really, those 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 10 employee type businesses. And it's really critical that we have this extra time, because even in the first 2 rounds and certainly in this 3rd round, what we found is that we really have to roll up our sleeves and work with these individual companies and almost walk every one of them through the process. It doesn't matter if they're Ivy League educated professionals down to your local barber. Everyone that we're seeing really requires that additional help and assistance just navigating the process. And that's what our banks are specializing in doing with our community. And so we're grateful for this extra couple of weeks where we can really focus in on those smaller borrowers and make sure they understand the program and get all of the resources that they're eligible for.
The thing here, Ron, we talk about what's going on here, is that it has taken this long for government officials to realize how do you truly target certain groups. Because we were sounding this alarm when the PPP program first started. And then we saw these stories where the Los Angeles Lakers are qualified for PPP loans, and Ruth Chris Steakhouse and other major companies, because the way the rules were set, you could apply with these individual restaurants when you were part of these massive larger groups. And then once those companies got outed, then they were embarrassed. They had to give the money back. But again, and the people who were truly small businesses, they were yelling and screaming, saying, we're going to be DOA. Now, has this also dealt with the whole deal of a 1099, or is it still full-time employees? Because that also was part of the problem.
Sure. And I want to address the number of employees that a business can have. And it's based upon your standard industry code, your 6 code or your next code. So there are industries that will allow you to have up to 500 employees based upon that code. So the other thing that I want to make sure that people understand, that if you are a sole proprietor, the math may sound complicated in reference to how you can fill out and how much you can get. The maximum that a sole proprietor, an individual business owner, can apply for is $20,800. And in fact, what you would do is take 2.5 months of your annual payroll, or what you would pay yourself, amortize that over 12 months, divide it, and that's what you come up with, or roughly 0.0208. You can either do the two equations, or on the average, no more than $20,800. But again, I think this is going to be extremely important for the small as well as mid-sized Black-owned firms. And the other thing is, in reference to before, it was you had to show that you lost money during the fourth quarter. We're saying now in this new plan, any quarter during the year 2019, if you had fewer revenue than 2020 during that period of time, you're still eligible. So make sure that you find your local Black banker, establish that relationship, and let's go make some loans and get through these difficult times.
Robert, for the folks out there, they may not have a Black bank that's in their town. How can they still assist? How can they still work with the Black bank? Are there any restrictions? Do you have to reside in that city, in that state? Share those thoughts.
Thanks, Roland. The answer is no. You don't have to reside in a particular geographic region in order to do business with a Black bank. Many of our institutions are accepting PPP applications from customers across the country. I know that our institution, even in the first 2 rounds, we found that Black businesses found us from across the country. We made loans to Black businesses as far away as California and up in New York. Our bank is located in Savannah, Georgia. We're one of the smallest banks in the country, but we really jumped in with both feet to serve Black businesses that weren't getting attention from those larger institutions. And we're doing that now. And you see that if you go to the National Bankers Association website, nationalbankers.org, you can find a list of all of our member institutions and find one that's accepting applications online and ready and willing to serve you.
Ron, one of the issues, the last question for you, one of the issues that, again, people are dealing with is understanding the process. What are y'all doing at the U.S. Black Chambers, Inc. to help people who aren't clear with all these, fill this out, what steps to take, what bank to connect with, what's the right bank, because the people who got it are folks who paid others who knew how to, frankly, I won't say, who knew how to work the system.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. And what the U.S. Black Chamber does is we're providing that free information for the business owners across the country. Every Thursday, we have online classes. We're having seminars. We understand that the majority of businesses that failed, it was not because they didn't have good businesses. It's just because they didn't have good information. And so we're here providing it for them. You can find out at usblackchambers.org. Again, usblackchambers.org to find out how you can find out the information to provide you with the PPP that you need.
All right, then. Ron Busby with U.S. Black Chambers, Inc. Robert James with the National Bankers Association. Gentlemen, we certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Every single night, we've got some of the top Black experts. You're not going to see them on cable news or broadcast news. because you swear black people aren't experts when it comes to this health crisis. That's why we have this show and why we do what we do every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Joining us right now is retired General Russell Honore, the nation's first black Surgeon General, Dr. Joycelyn Eldridge. John Hope Bryant, he's the founder of Operation Hope. Senator Kamala Harris of California, Dr. Cedrina Calder, retired General Lloyd Austin, Congresswoman Karen Bass, Commissioner Omari Hardick, Bureau President in Brooklyn, Eric Adams, Dr. Joseph Graves, America's Wealth Coach, Deborah Owens, Dr. Corey Abear, Patal Saul, Howard University student, Pastor Jamal Bryant, Dr. Christy McDowell, Benja Ajilore, senior economist at the Center for American Progress, Gilda Daniels, again, author of the book, The Crisis of Voter Suppression in America. 4 stars, General Kip Ward. Dr. Oliver Brooks is president of the National Medical Association, president of the American Medical Association, Dr. Patrice Harris. Joby Benjamin, Dr. Alexia Gaffney, infectious disease specialist, Dr. Georges Benjamin, executive director of the American Public Health Association, Malcolm Nance, family medicine physician, Dr. Jen Caudle, Dr. Tashaka Cunningham, a molecular biologist, Kat Stafford. She's a national race and ethnicity reporter for the Associated Press. Dr. Wayne A.I. Frederick, who is the president of Howard University, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke from the state of New York, William Spriggs, AFL-CIO economist, Andrea James, executive director of the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. All right, let's go to Capitol Hill. Congressman Gregory Meeks, Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson of Texas, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, mental health clinician Jamie Singletary, Prince George's County State's Attorney Aisha Bradeboy, as well as Dylan Hayrie, ACLU Justice Division strategist. Dr. Cindy Duke, she is a virologist. Principal Steve Perry of Capitol Prep. Health and wellness specialist Dr. Yolandra Hancock. Desmond Meade, president of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Cliff Albright, who is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter. Michael Harriet with The Root. Mina McWhorter, founder of Love by the Hand. Dr. Julianne Malvo, economist president, Emerita Bennett College. Coroner Michael Fowler is the mayor of Atlanta. Keisha Lance Bottoms, mental health therapist Suzette Clark. Justin Gibney, attorney and political strategist, and Bishop Vincent Matthews Jr. Dr. Suzette McKinney, CEO and executive director of the Illinois Medical District. Dr. Leon Madugal, president-elect of the National Medical Association. Jana Bailey, mayor of Moss Point, Mississippi, Mario King. We're going to keep driving this thing to make sure our people are fully aware, safe, protected from coronavirus. You getting the top medical experts, the top business experts, top political experts, top religious experts, because that's why we do what we do. Unapologetically and unfiltered. Ain't nobody else in the black media space doing what we do. Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.